And we are live. And good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another scene for Living World of Darkness, New York by Night. And we find ourselves underground in the bunker that hosts most of the Camarilla members nowadays, where, little Miss Lucy, the Toreador fledgling, is making her way over to the area that Lady Selena has claimed for herself as her Primogen wishes to have a word with her. So she arrives as neatly clothed, as nicely clothed as she can. Sorry, my English is taking a run with me. And she will dust herself up, make herself look at least halfway presentable, as well as you can in the situation that they're all in. And she'll knock on the door or whatever kind of part keeps it private from the rest of the bunker.
Selena would come in and greet her. Like, Lucy, darling, please, come in. Take a seat.
Hi. Yeah, sorry. She'll walk in, sits down. I heard you wanted to talk to me.
Yes. Selena sits down and crosses her legs in a seat kind of opposite Lucy and says, I need to speak to you about a bit of troubling information that I received recently.
Oh, are you okay?
Well, that is yet to be seen, darling.
I'm so sorry. Is there any way I can help?
Well, tell me, Lucy, I thought that in the time that we have spent together, that we had become good friends.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, obviously you're my Primogen, and all sorts of things, the better. But yeah, for my
And
part, that is.
Selena smiles, and it's kind of a almost a sad smile. And she says, "Well, Lucy, aren't I correct in thinking that friends are honest with one another?"
Of course.
I've been told that you may not actually be either a fledgling or a member of my clan after all.
She blinks a couple of times. Oh,
Selena would kind of lean forward slightly in her seat, and her eyes are absolutely trained on Lucy's face. And she'd say, you can be honest with me. Whatever it is, whatever the secret is that you're keeping, just please consider me a friend and be truthful.
and Lucy stays silent for a long while. Her hands kind of tugging on her skirt. But who's told you that? I mean,
It doesn't matter, darling. It's you you need only know that
I thought friends were honest to each other.
Selena would smile with kind of a touche expression and say, well, Theodore asked to speak with Lucius and myself and and gave us this information so that we may take it to our coteries to decide upon the best course of action. But before speaking with anyone else, I wanted to speak with you first.
What course of action, and what did it tell you?
Well, I'm sure you understand, darling, that we aren't able to have someone in our midst that from us. But I would very much like to fight in your corner as I always have. But I find it difficult to do that without all of the facts. And I would very much like to hear them from you yourself.
I wonder why you would say such a thing.
So you're telling me that you are, in fact, of my clan.
I just don't see why he would do such a thing. It makes me sad.
Well, from what I understand, you are, in actuality, a great deal more powerful than I. And so it seems odd to me that you would defer to my opinion and treat me as your superior.
Power is something. I think everyone has power, don't you? We're all powerful in some way or another. I'm sure there are some things that you can do that I can't, and vice versa. Is that bad?
No, not at all. But I think if we are both being honest here, we both know that you could probably kill me without a second thought, or at least have the capability of doing so. But,
What would make you think that?
well, I think that anything that can give Theodore cause for alarm, well, I would certainly be no match for. Put it that way.
So you think he's right?
She would kind of shake her head as if she's kind of a bit confused and say, I really don't know, darling. I just hope that I could get to the bottom of this, and so that I may advise my coterie to continue to embrace you in our midst and keep you safe here with us.
And if I would be telling the truth and he would be lying, what would you do then?
Well, he is my elder. There is not much I can do to argue against him. He seemed fairly certain of his facts.
So if he, if I'm correct, what you're saying is that if I am what he is afraid of, if you would do something bad, probably, and if he's the one lying, or even not necessarily lying, maybe just genuinely be mistaken, you wouldn't go against him, and I would still receive the same treatments.
Darling, as I say, I wish to fight in your corner. I always have done, and I intend to continue doing so. But
But
if
you
there is,
just told me that you can't, because you wouldn't go against him.
he left it up to the coteries to ultimately decide what was to happen. And I would very much like to ask the members of Invictus to keep you here amongst us. But I can't do that in good faith if there is any risk to any of us here.
But wouldn't you think if there was such a big risk, would you honestly think that a coterie could stop it?
There are certainly some things that all of us here put together probably could not stop. But I hoped that the friendship, the bond that we had built up over these last weeks would have meant something. I hoped that you could open up to me.
If something is frightening for Theodore, you wouldn't want it around.
Well, she kind of pauses to think that over. I would like to take your word for it that we would not be in any danger.
But you are in danger. Even now, there's a bot out there looking for all of us. I can't tell you that you are safe, because you're not.
I mean, safe from within, not from our enemies outside this bunker.
Look at all the people who you all once thought were your friends. I have heard, although I've never met them, of 3 or even 4 people who decided to step to the other side. If you're truly honest, no one can give you a guarantee that you're safe, not even from yourself.
You speak wisely, darling. But if I may speak freely, I get the feeling that you are avoiding the question somehow. If it is that you are from another clan and are, in fact, older than you have made out to be, then you can be open with me. You will receive no judgment, and I can speak with others. I can do my best to make sure that you're accepted here. But we simply cannot keep secrets from one another at a time like this. We need to band together, otherwise we may never regain our city.
At that point, the way that Lucy sits, kind of little slumped and clutching on her skirt, it changes, and she's slowly kind of letting her hand fall in her lap and sits up straight, almost regally. Maybe keeping secrets has nothing to do with trust. Maybe keeping secrets is necessary for survival, even though someone would have nothing to fear from those that you keep secrets from.
But
And she kind of stares Selena straight in the eyes.
as the change came over her, Selena would have kind of sat back in her chair slightly, and a more serious look would have come over her face. And she would say, but whatever the reason for keeping secrets, trust can end under such circumstances. I believe we need most at a time like this to be able to trust in one another and know that we have each other's backs.
Trust has been one of the most precious things ever. We can have gold, pretty dresses, influence, humans, everything at our disposal. But trust is the most valued, most rarely given, especially amongst our kind, and most often betrayed.
Have I ever betrayed you? Have I ever given you any reason not to trust me?
But it's been so short.
I understand that. But when you disappeared, you cannot imagine how concerned I was. I went with the others to rescue you. As I'm sure you're very well aware, I am no fighter. I had no place being there, but I was willing to risk myself because you mean a lot to me.
And I thank you for your kindness. It is good, almost like a warm blanket, when those who surround you care for you. You don't know how deeply that pleases me.
Well, I'm glad. I I don't wish to make a big deal of it, but I merely mean to illustrate my point that I do care for you deeply. I have come to think of you as a sister, a friend, and I hate the thought that that was not real, that that was merely a facade in order for you to keep your secrets.
She smiles slowly. Under the eye of our Father, we're all brothers and sisters. Just because we come from different families doesn't mean that we can't feel that connection. It's such a shame that such a war breaks those bonds, don't you think?
I do. So, regarding this war, I hope that I can be assured that you are wholeheartedly on our side.
Again, the smile. This war started without me and will most likely finish without me. What my role is in this war, I, even I can't dare to speak. I do not know.
Well,
I am
let me.
not against any of you, and you have all treated me with kindness and with warmth in your heart, even though they do not longer beat. That is a great gift. It is good to know that that can still be felt amongst our kind, because for a long while I was not aware of that. However, this war, me and mine are no part of it. I, at this point, have no interest in a war.
So you will not aid us in taking back the city?
I will not stop you.
Selena kind of inclines her head and says, well, that is something, I suppose.
Aid comes to those who need it most, and often from unexpected sources. As I said, it is not my place to fight this war. I, in many ways, am a relic of something that is long gone, a fleeting memory, a dream. How can
Selena's,
a dream fight?
she's kind of sitting on the edge of her seat now and listening intently. And she says, the term necromancer was used. Is there any truth to that?
Necromancer is but a word, a name for those who don't understand. I would not call myself a necromancer.
So what exactly would you call yourself?
As I said, the days have passed where I could call myself part of a true family. For they have gone before me, and there is none left but I.
Selena would actually look kind of quite saddened by that. You know, she's moved by the story. So can you promise me that no one within this bunker is in any danger from you specifically?
If they don't feel the need to betray me, I would not feel the need to betray them. However, those who do betray me and who break their promises, I cannot guarantee that they will be able to continue their turn of the wheel.
Selena,
Sometimes it's time for those to move on.
Selena nods slowly as Lucy's speaking and says, well, despite everything, I have no intentions of betraying you. I wish that you feel you could be more open with me, but perhaps in time, who knows? However, I don't feel, she kind of laughs a little, but I am in any danger from you. So I will do my best to ensure that you can remain amongst us.
You are most kind. Too often, those who can't show, those who can't tell the secrets that they hold, get shunned. Yet here you stand, deciding to trust someone even though they cannot be open. That is worth a lot, Lady Selena,
Well,
especially in times like these.
perhaps I am foolish, but I suppose we all have our secrets, and when the time is right, then they can be shared. Until then, I must simply have faith that you will do the right thing and not jeopardize our plans in any way or move against anyone here. I don't like the thought of you out there, however powerful you may be, alone against the monsters that currently rule our city.
As said, I cannot make promises for those who've broken theirs. But if you haven't, and your conscience is clear, then no one has to fear from me.
I shall do my utmost to make sure that people do not judge when certain information comes to light. I shall try to smooth the way for you as much as I am able. And although I may be speaking a little prematurely, perhaps, I would like to think that my coterie will stand behind me in this. What Lucius's coterie will decide, I cannot say, but I will speak to those that I'm familiar with and see if I can't sway their judgment also.
Thank you.
No thanks are necessary, darling. I think that you need to remain amongst us. And I hope that our friendship can continue to grow.
So far, the current company, and she'll kind of spread out her hand, indicating that she mainly means everyone in the bunker, has been a blessing that I did not expect to find. Even though you are all so young. I've grown fond of you all.
As we have of you. You know, it is funny. There is still a part of me that looks upon you and sees my little fledgling. And despite the fact that I now know otherwise, I remain awfully fond of you.
I always loved to act, and Lucy Smith is probably one of my best performances ever.
Yeah.
But then again, a lot was at stake, and still is. I do sincerely apologize for the fact that I cannot be clear and I cannot yet be open, if ever. But for now, The shadows will hold my secrets. The wheel of time will probably take them to his grave.
Well, Selena kind of smiles and says, "Whatever you are, darling, you did play an incredibly convincing member of my clan."
I hope to do so
Well,
for a little longer.
if it was left up to me, I would keep your secret, but unfortunately, I think that ship has sailed. So all we can do at this point is minimize the consequences of that information. And I shall set about doing so straight away.
Thank you. Then I will leave you to it.
I must warn you, however, that others will wish to speak with you and will probably have questions that are somewhat more forceful than mine.
We will see that when the time comes.
Well, not that you need it in any way, but if my support or anything else I can do for you may be required, you know where I am. That has not changed.
Again, nothing but thanks. I think you are a fine example of our kind.
Well, that means a lot. I thank you.
She'll rise and for a moment just stands there and then just kind of lets out a giggle and grabs his skirt again
Selena would
and
kind of smile and shake her head as she saw that.
looks more like the Lucy that you are very familiar with. Well, I better run now. I'll see you around, okay?
She would just kind of smile to herself and nod. Okay. She's just kind of thinking,
Sure.
wow, this is so out of my hands. I can't control this situation.
And Lucy will kind of twirl around once and then almost downside of the room. And I think with that, unless there's anything you would like to do, we can end our scene.
No, we can end there.
Okay. In that case, thank you, player, for playing, and thank you, future watchers, for watching. This was a scene for Living World of Darkness, New York by Night, and we do wish you all a pleasant night.